After a relatively prosperous period, America was hit with some of its greatest challenges, only to respond with long-awaited changes that reshaped the course of the nation during this decade.
Thank you. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 defining moments in 2000's America.
It does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
For this list, we've chosen moments that we felt best represent this essential decade in American history.
Yes, I saw Lance Armstrong using drugs.
Number 10, the stigma of steroids in sports.
What other supplements did you use?
I'm not here to talk about the past.
Long hidden under the bright lights of sports, steroid abuse was exposed this decade. Former players like Jose Canseco opened up about their use.
As early as his MVP season in 1988, there were whispers that Jose Canseco was using steroids,
leading to rigorous and refined anti-doping programs across the major sports organizations.
It's around 300 separate tests that he's undergone.
From Marion Jones to Mark McGuire, the resulting investigations shattered many reputations and achievements. Tests to detect performance-enhancing drugs continue to evolve, but recent scandals show that athletes still use to seek that ever-desirable competitive edge. Number 9, corporate scandals.
Scott D. Sullivan and David F. Myers were charged with 7 counts of securities fraud.
The early 2000s were host to an abnormally large amount of corporate corruption and bankruptcies. Facing debt in a recessing economy, major companies like Enron and WorldCom used fraudulent schemes to disguise their massive losses.
Plant operators were coached on how to lie to officials.
Just call them, hey guys, finish our queue after coming down.
Okay, so we're just coming down for some maintenance, like a forced outage type thing.
Right.
And that's cool.
Hopefully.
However, in every case, the sham came to an end, and several corporations toppled to the tune of billions of dollars. Enron's fall was especially bloody, with trials and lawsuits dragging on throughout the decade.
As far as I'm concerned, nothing happened in Enron that Ken Lay didn't last.
Number 8. Same-sex marriage is legalized in some states.
It is important for me to go ahead and affirm that I think same-sex couples should be able to get married.
At decade's start, same-sex marriage wasn't permitted anywhere in the United States. This all changed in 2003, when the Massachusetts Supreme Court legalized it.
Everyone deserves an equal chance for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and this law is just so monumental. It makes me so proud to be from Massachusetts.
Marriages were authorized within many states at a torrid pace, 4 total by decade's end. This started a major movement for gay rights, as antiquated laws and policies were slowly phased out. Marriage legalization has strongly continued since, with its seeds first planted in the 2000s.
But that alone doesn't make people equal, so it's time for equality in marriage in Washington state.
Number 7, the USA PATRIOT Act.
President George W. Bush signed the PATRIOT Act, which gave law enforcement broader authority to investigate and prosecute suspected terrorists.
The actions of 9/11 stunned the American people, and it was to be expected that the government attempt to increase security measures. The PATRIOT Act was the resulting act of Congress, including initiatives meant to empower investigations into terrorist activity.
Never in my worst nightmare did I ever think that it would be my own government that I would have to protect my children from.
Many criticized the act for violating civil liberties with expanded government surveillance and stringent immigration policies. The debate continues, as the PATRIOT Act has survived through the years with minor changes.
Today is the 10th anniversary of President George W. Bush signing into law the PATRIOT Act. So happy birthday to extended wiretaps.
Number 6, social, local, mobile.
Someone is going to build this. Someone is going to build something that makes it so that people can stay connected with their friends and their family. But no way would we be the ones who were contributing to kind of leading the whole internet in this direction.
The 2000s saw Americans again change the way they communicate. Social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and MySpace attracted millions of users to chat and share their pictures, interests, and daily lives. This was aided by the prominent advancement of the cell phone to the smartphone.
The colors in your photos will look truer and your skin tones more natural.
No longer mere communication devices, they allowed people to experience a full electronic world from anywhere at any time. The social grid was inescapable. Number 5. Hurricane Katrina.
In the world of weather, this is the weapon of mass destruction.
The United States' costliest natural disaster shook the country's core in the summer of 2005. Hurricane Katrina terrorized the Gulf Coast, killing nearly 2,000 people and leading some to question a connection to climate change.
Reporting from the hurricane in New Orleans. Come on, let's go for cover.
The disaster was worsened by the failure of levees in New Orleans and left much of the city flooded. Afterwards, criticism was directed at the federal and state governments for unorganized rescue efforts and insufficient preparation.
And in a country accustomed to watching its troops swoop into foreign terrain and deliver aid, seemingly at a moment's notice, people are beginning to wonder what's going wrong.
Number 4. Econopocalypse.
A lot of Americans may feel that we've been in a recession for some time, and now, according to the National Bureau for Economic Research, they would be right.
With the economic success under President Clinton a distant memory, the U.S. suffered a serious recession starting at the end of 2007. The economic collapse was fueled by the burst of the housing bubble earlier in the year.
It was really the granddaddy of all bubbles, and it affected an asset class of $22 trillion.
To make matters worse, the federal budget was in a deep deficit, limited by ongoing warfare. Lehman Brothers declared bankruptcy and unemployment hit a peak of 10%. Plans were introduced to curtail the damage, but the nation is still recovering today. Number 3. The election of Barack Obama.
Welcome to the White House.
Wheels of change kicked into motion when Senator Barack Obama announced his decision to run for the presidency in 2007. Defeating Senator Hillary Clinton to become the primary Democratic candidate, the once impossible dream of an African-American president no longer seemed a fantasy.
And CNN can now project that Barack Obama, 47 years old, will become the president-elect of the United States.
Obama's economic plan and opposition to the Iraq War rocketed him into the White House on Election Day and brought new hope to America.
And with eyes fixed on the horizon and God's grace upon us, we carried forth that great gift of freedom and delivered it safely to future generations.
Number 2, a decade of war.
We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them.
Caught off guard by an attack on its own soil, America pushed against foreign threats for much of the 2000s. Operation Enduring Freedom was launched to eliminate al-qaeda leadership in Afghanistan, while the Iraq War served to overthrow Saddam Hussein and rebuild a new government.
This super carrier arrives for battle in mid-December in the northern Arabian Sea. It relieves another carrier to join Operation Enduring Freedom.
Though Hussein and Osama bin Laden were eventually eliminated, the wars dragged on with continuous insurgency.
Afghans will have full responsibility for their security, and this war will come to a responsible end.
Numerous U.S. troops were lost, but the battle in Afghanistan raged on. Before we look at our final pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Carlos, I'm going to cut you off because we do have now word, according to the Los Angeles Times is reporting that Michael Jackson has died.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Idol, the show that's on a mission to discover the next superstar.
Number 1, the September 11th attacks.
Oh my goodness.
Oh God.
There's another one. Oh my goodness, there's another one.
This seems to be on purpose.
A date that will forever live in infamy. The events of 9/11 completely altered the country's course. In protest of U.S. foreign policy, terrorist group al-qaeda hijacked 4 commercial airliners and crashed them into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and a Pennsylvania field, leaving nearly 3,000 casualties.
9:59 a.m. The outer columns of the South Tower finally give way.
The deadliest attack on America in 6 decades, the losses were unfathomable, and the grieving process long and challenging. The attacks defined the era for America, as it spent much of the decade in combat, seeking to prevent future tragedies. Do you agree with our list? Which events do you think define 2000's America and beyond? For more informative top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.